What's good, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. You already know. It's your host, Bando, back at it with a fresh episode because we got some breaking down to do. UFC 325 is this weekend. Alexander Volkanovski has to defend his featherweight championship against Diego Lopez for a second time. Can he get it done is the question. Well, let's answer that. Let's waste no time. Let's get into this episode. Let's smoke. All right, so when I do these breakdowns, obviously we know I do a lot more intensity when it comes to the main card, but I typically go through the prelims, the early prelims, but I cannot cap to you, gentlemen, and ladies and gentlemen, anybody out there who is listening, I cannot cap to you. I don't know any of these names. These names are very unfamiliar, let me tell you. Now, going into the prelims, I know a few people, right? You got Junior Tafa on the prelims. You got Cody Brundage, Jacob Malkoon, Oben Elliott. So you definitely got fighters that are familiar. I'm familiar with. I got some guys that I know on the prelims. Early prelims, I cannot lie to you. I don't know a name on this card. I don't know a name on the prelims, right? You got a lot of 11-1, 9-1, 10-3, 7-1, 7-1, 10-1. So it seems like a lot of guys on the opening start of their career. So could make for some exciting fights. Might end up getting some really exciting, maybe some explosive fights. You know, whenever you got guys coming out to make a statement on their debut type of thing, they got to put in that work. They got to put in that work. Or if there's early part of their career, they got to put in that work. They're up in so they're in Sydney. So probably obviously got a lot more Australian type of fighters, New Zealand fighters from that area that way. Definitely got more of them on the card. So like I said, those early prelims could potentially be exciting. Prelims could be pretty decent. But this main card, straight fire. Straight fire, straight heat. I love it. Opening the card, you got Killen Salikov going up against Jamie Mullarkey. If I'm saying his name right, Quillen, I think it's Quillen. Kid's got a lot of potential. He really does have a lot of potential. He's got beautiful striking. Right, he's kind of slick of a fighter, but he's got beautiful striking, and he's got some pop in his punches. He's got some pop in his kicks. He seems like he has potential to be a dangerous fighter, potential to be a very aggressive and exciting fighter. Right, maybe this is a different change that we need to start seeing in the UFC is where we start to get more exciting fighters coming out, more of the guys that you know are going to go in there, get into a scrap, end up getting a finish. Right, not every fight has to be stand up on the feet back and forth, right? But guys that are attempting to get the finish, that's what we want to see. We want to see people attempting to get the finish because that's what makes the fight exciting. Not you shooting for the legs, holding them down for 25 minutes, right? So definitely got an exciting fighter. And him going up against Jamie Mullarkey, it's an interesting matchup because Jamie Mullarkey is a decent test for anybody. And sometimes he could pull it out, right? Like he could be, sometimes he could actually be skillful, technical, powerful, and then sometimes he gets his ass beat. That's the best way to describe it. Sometimes he's up, sometimes he's down. So you never know with Jamie Mullarkey, but Jamie Mullarkey is talented, does have enough skill to go out there and put on a good showing. But I do definitely think this matchup is set and made for Quillen to get himself another W. So I'm definitely leaning in a way of killing, maybe by a knockout, first 2 rounds, something like that, or potentially this going 3 rounds with, you never know, with Jamie Mullarkey getting the W. You never know, but I'm gonna have to rock with. I hope I'm saying his name right, otherwise I'm completely butchering it. But Quillen Salikov, yeah, I'm rocking with him in the first fight. Moving on, you got Tai Tuivasa going up against Talison Teixeira. Let me tell you something. I got this all wrong. I thought Tai Tuivasa was supposed to be fighting Johnny Walker's brother, so I thought Tai had a chance. Now seeing it's Talison Teixeira, he's got a tougher fight on his hands. He's definitely got a tougher fight on his hands. Coming back to this, that's a tough fight. That's a tough fight. Tai is in the position right now. He needs a W. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He needs a W, right? We need to see Tai Tuivasa on the top of the cage Saturday night drinking a shoey, right? We have to. He needs that for his own career, because if he loses this fight, this could be it for him. This could be it. He could be getting the scissors, could be hitting the chopping block. It might be a wrap. But Tai really, really needs this fight, but it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. Talison Teixeira is a powerful dude. He is a very tough fighter. The thing about Tai is we seen Tai in there with hella talent, hella top guys, right? Like, we know Tai's powerful. We know Tai can crack, right? But being on the losing streak he's on right now, you rather come into a fight against a guy who's less likely to be the dangerous knockout fighter. Instead, you're coming against Talison Teixeira. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Can Tai get it done? Absolutely. Tai Tuivasa is very similar to Derek Lewis, where it only takes the few shots, right? But you might end up seeing him looking like the way Derek Lewis looked this past weekend, right? But Tai really has to come out and prove himself. But unfortunately, you're only as good as your last fight. In his last, six or seven? I think it's. So his last 5, right? So he's on a 5-fight losing streak. His last win was actually Derek Lewis back in 2022. Lost to Cyril Gane in that absolute war. Fantastic fight, but lost to Cyril Gane. Lost to Sergey Pavlovich, first round KO, which everybody was going to sleep against Sergey at the time. Lost by submission to Volkov. Lost the submission to Marcin Tybura. And lost the decision to Jairzinho Rozenstruik. We ain't seen him since 2024. Hopefully whatever Tai was doing in 2025 will benefit him going into this fight. Maybe just going into 2026 period. Hopefully we get to see more of Tai Tuivasa in 2026 period. But like I said, you're only as good as your last fight. It makes me nervous to rock with Tai Tuivasa right now. Even though they're in Sydney, even though he's got a hometown crowd behind him type of thing, he's got the people that are going to be backing him, no doubt. People are going to be hoping to get the shoey. They're going to be hoping to see him get a flashy, fun knockout, right? Tai Tuivasa fashion type of thing. But this is a tough one. Unfortunately, I got to rock with Talison Teixeira in this one. And actually, realistically, I should refrain from saying you're only as good as your last one, because Talison Teixeira is coming off a loss too. Don't know why I thought he was coming off a win, but he's coming off a loss against Derek Lewis. And if you remember, Derek Lewis won that fight and kind of just went at him, right? So maybe that's the ticket for Tai. Maybe that's the ticket for Tai. But Tai in his last 5, I haven't been very trustworthy. I'm rooting for him. You know what? No, the hell with it. Fuck Talison Teixeira. We rocking with Tai Tuivasa. That's my pick. That's my bet. Lock it in. I'm rocking with Tai Tuivasa. That's it. What a switch up. Quick switch up. But we all know we want to see Tai get the W, right? Regardless, we want to see Tai get the W. But, he just hasn't been very trustworthy in his last fight. That's all. Moving on, you got a very exciting striking matchup here. Rafael Fiziev going up against Mauricio Rufy. That's very exciting. You got two dudes who know how to use their legs in a fight. It's just that simple. They know how to throw some of the flashiest, fastest, fanciest kicks, and I cannot wait. Now, there are always routes where fights like this could be boring, but I don't think so. Not with a guy like Fiziev. Fiziev brings the heat, man. He really does. Fiziev brings the heat. He pushed the pressure on you. He's ready to scrap. He's got no fear. And I don't see Mauricio Rufy having that much of a threat in the knockout compartment unless it's something flashy. I think he's got to really, really stay perfectly clean and technical against a guy like Fiziev, who Fiziev's got phenomenal Muay Thai. If he utilizes his Muay Thai, utilizes his work up the middle, right, he is very quick, he's very fast, and he's very powerful. So I think I think if he really works his Muay Thai in this fight, tries to make it kind of a little bit of a dirty fight, not dirty in terms of cheating, just like dirty in terms of, clinching up, landing a lot of elbows in tight, a lot of knees to the body, I think he can end up getting the W. Now, Mauricio Rufy, we know how he is. He's looking for the counter shot. He's looking for that slick. He's got those slick punches where he's not even looking and he's throwing a hook and stuff like that. Like, he is very slick. He's very clean. He's got a lot of tools in the arsenal, right? But at the same time, we've seen some situations where he can be put in a point where he's uncomfortable, and that's sometimes all you need to do to stall out a fighter of his style is to just put him in a position where he's uncomfortable, whether it's on the ground, whether it's in a clinch, and whether it's landing strikes or just holding. Right, it really doesn't matter. It's one of those things you just have to put him in a position he is not comfortable with, and you have more of a benefit winning that fight. I think for this one, though, Fiziev could go in there, like I said, work up the middle, work the body, land some elbows, land some knees, a lot of Muay Thai, and can get that job done. He just has to be careful that he's not taking too much time on any points of resetting and allowing Mauricio Rufy to come through with something quick, something flashy that he didn't see coming. I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm going to have to rock with Fiziev in this one, right? I like Mauricio Rufy. I rock with a lot of the fighting nerds, and I like his style and stuff like that. It's very flashy, very, very clean. His striking is very, very clean. But Fiziev's a tough matchup for anybody in this division. I don't care what anybody thinks. That's one of the toughest fighters in the division. So it's going to be a tough night for Mauricio Rufy. But if Mauricio Rufy can get past him, that's beautiful, especially after coming off. What did he lose to? Did he lose to BSD? Yeah. Coming off of that loss against Benoit Saint Denis, submission against Benoit Saint Denis, he needs a W. If you can go in there and get a finish against Rafael Fiziev, A1, brother. A1, but I got to rock with Fiziev in that one. Yeah, I don't know. Is it Fiziev or Fiziev? I hear so many people pronounce it so many different ways. I don't even know what it is at this point. So before I get in this co-main, this main event, I got to admit the Paramount Plus whole aspect for UFC, I fuck with it right now. I fuck with it. But one of the homies that supplied majority of this wall behind me that you see, half these posters, a good friend of mine, my brother Dave out there. Shout out to Dave. He's got me so much different stuff, right? But this man is so lucky. So lucky he got to go to the first ever UFC on Paramount Plus. He got to see Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett live. And not only did he give me this sick photo, but he also picked me up I don't know if it's focusing still. Still focusing. Stop focusing, bitch. Focus. I don't know what the camera doing, but it's a UFC on Paramount Plus towel. Shout out to my boy Dave. Sick pickup. Definitely dope to have a towel from the first ever Paramount Plus show, right? So definitely will be making its way on the wall here soon. I just had to give a shout out. All right, now moving on to the co-main event, Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis. This fight can be extremely, extremely exciting. But here is the thing. Is Benoit Saint Denis going to fight his fight? Or is he going to fight Dan Hooker's fight? Dan, no matter what's not really going to make crazy adjustments. Dan's going to go in there and fight the way he is always fighting. He scraps, nice teeps up the middle, works his kicks here and there. Nothing crazy, but he works his kicks here and there. A lot of teeps up the middle, a lot of knees up the middle. He's good at working the body shots with the uppercuts to the body and stuff like that. Like, he definitely rips the body. He works up top. He throws a lot of different combinations, right? He's looking to scrap. And Benoit Saint Denis, he is definitely nobody that is going to step away from the fire. That man's not backing down. He's not backing down at all, right? He is ready to scrap. He is about that smoke. Here's the thing. He'll meet Dan in the middle. Not that I don't think Benoit Saint Denis could withstand stuff. But I think if he meets Dan in the middle and tries to fight Dan's fight, he's going to end up getting whooped. Compared to if he goes in there and starts a heavier pace than Dan, doesn't allow Dan to really get his feet wet, right? He forces Dan to get a little aggressive right off rip, maybe get sloppy, right? And then he shoots. and then he works the ground game, works the clinch, works up against the cage. I think Benoit Saint Denis, IQ-wise and adjustment-wise, should be able to win this fight because, like I said, I don't see Dan Hooker going back to the corner, coming back out, making any different adjustments that he needs to end up getting the job done. Compared to Benoit Saint Denis, I can see him going in there with a bunch of different game plans. Just don't fight Dan Hooker's game plan, right? So Dan's long, lanky, right? Knows how to utilize his reach. Obviously, Benoit Saint Denis is on the shorter side, has to close the distance, right? So he's kind of got a bum rush right off rip. I think once Dan starts finding the range, then he could put his pressure on you. Then he can control the pace. Then he can start whooping up on you. But if you don't give him that opportunity to, right, because Dan still has to get kind of comfortable. He's not like Justin Gaethje where he's just kind of swinging. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got to get comfortable. Once he gets comfortable, he'll start trading. But that's where you don't want to just sit in the pocket and trade with Dan Hooker. You don't want to just get into it and just start trading with Dan Hooker because that's when you're going to end up getting hurt. Whether he's going to sleep you, tag you, whatever the case may be, you're going to end up getting beat up. Now, if Benoit Saint Denis closes the distance properly, early, puts the damage to him, puts the work to him, like I said, I don't think Dan Hooker goes back to the corner to make the adjustments to come out to get the W. Excuse me. If Benoit Saint Denis puts the pressure on him in the first round, puts him on the ground, controls the pace, lands some shots on the ground, and comes out and doesn't do that immediately off rip in the second round, then Dan's going to be able to make the adjustments simply on the feet, right? But he won't make the adjustments to avoid the positions that he's going to end up in. Just like against Arman, just like against, Islam, he didn't even get a chance to make adjustments, right? But anytime he goes to the ground, it's a tougher night for Dan Hooker. So who do I have winning? I'm rocking with Dan Hooker right now. I do think Dan could get it done. I think Benoit Saint Denis could have a tendency to fall off the game plan. I could definitely see him falling off the game plan and Dan Hooker getting a W. But at the same time, I could see him going in there, seeing the other blueprint that was written of getting Dan Hooker to the ground and getting to finish that route. Might happen, but right now I got to rock with Dan Hooker. I was supposed to say big dog breakdown before I went into the co-main event, but I got this eyelash in my eye, and it's really fucking distracting. But yeah, we in the big dog breakdown. I forgot to say it before the co-main, but we're in the big dog breakdown. But now we are going to the main event. Alexander Volkanovski, Diego Lopez, a second time around. Can Volk get it done? Now look, man, I'm really feeling like Diego Lopez can get it done. I really am. Sometimes the second time around, young, hungry, coming off of a fantastic win that was exciting, right? Had a lot riding on that fight. Not guaranteed a title shot either. When you had Lerone Murphy in the balance, you've had Movsar Evloev being talked about for a while. Like, wasn't a guaranteed title shot. Went in there, got the W over Jean Silva. Beautiful W. Going in against Alexander Volkanovski. Can he get it done? I got a feeling he can. But you have two routes to this. You know Diego Lopez is going to come in with adjustments made from the first fight, right? You lost the first fight. You got to come into the second fight with adjustments. You got to come in with a new answer. You got to come in with something different, right? But at the same time, if he comes into this first round the same way he did in the last first round, he might have a better chance of winning the fight that way than trying to make adjustments through 5 rounds to like pick apart Alexander Volkanovski or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't see Diego Lopez gassing out if he does take that chance in the first round, but I feel like he's got a better chance this time around than he did last time by bum rushing right off rip. Now, say he doesn't. Does he have it all? Does he have it all to be able to get the W against Volkanovski? he put the pressure on him, man. The whole fight, it was a tough fight. Volkanovski just shows you how he's a veteran. He knows how to make the adjustments. His IQ is top tier. I mean, Alexander Volkanovski has one of the best IQs in all of MMA. He knows how to make the adjustments. He knows how to come back out and start utilizing his strengths, right, in everything that he is good at, right, when he sees it open. Like, he just understands the game so well. So Diego doesn't want to get in a position where he's allowing Volk to get comfortable. It's kind of the same thing as Benoit Saint Denis and Dan Hooker. You don't want to let Volk get comfortable. If you let Volk get too comfortable, it's going to end up being dangerous. Now, I'll get a little bit deeper into that with the individual fighter breakdowns. I'm a little late this week. I was supposed to get the Dana White episode I mentioned to you guys out, but I never ended up getting that out because whoa, was that a long one to edit. Took way longer than I expected, and just taking longer to export than I expected as well. So probably just gonna just chalk that one up. It wasn't that big, just kind of talking about, like, you know, different things that Dana was talking about in the press conference, which I can go through in a small video anyways. But I don't even remember what I was gonna say. But yeah, like I said, I'm kind of late with the breakdowns. I got to do the individual high-stakes fighter breakdowns from Volk and Diego Lopez, which is crazy because I've done it once before, and you're not going to get much different of an episode, but you're going to have to get a different episode because now we're going to be basing all the adjustments, everything that has happened, all off of their first encounter. So I'm not going to get too much deeper into this crazy breakdown for that fight because you're obviously going to get two high-stakes breakdowns. But as of right now, I am rocking with Diego Lopez. And unfortunately, I'm not somebody. I love Volk. Volk's one of my favorite fighters to watch, man. He's not only is he exciting, he's very, very clean cut, very good to watch when you're trying to, like, learn the game, and he's just a fun energy. Period. Like, how do you hate on Volk? I want to see him get the dub. I was happy as hell when he got that belt back. I just think sometimes when the UFC throws you back into the same fight again, when you have been in the position that Volk has been in for so long, right? Obviously, he dropped the title to Ilya, but then came back. To have to do it again, second title defense back is against the same one as the first guy. He's either got to wash him, right? And you never know, Volk might clear him. Volk could very well clear him. Never sleep on Volk. Never sleep on the pop in that man's hands. He could sleep anybody if he lands the right shots, if he puts the right pressure on him. He is dangerous, right? But I'm rocking with Diego Lopez in this one, unfortunately. So that's it for this episode. I appreciate you guys for watching. You know what to do. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. I'm going to go record both the high-stakes fighter breakdowns real quick. And, stay tuned. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando's out.